Now, here are three main pain points about doctoral growth. Pain point one is learning a new skill set. Academic writing is a new skill set when you reach the doctoral level. In your master's degree program, and let's harken back further than that, in your program for undergraduate, your bachelor's program, your professor gave you the topics you were to write about and told you what had to be there. When you became a graduate student and did your master's degree, your professor gave you a little more leeway, but they still controlled the options. So you could choose one of 5 topics to write about. So you had choice. They still gave you the basic structure, but you had choice about the topic. When you reach the doctoral level, you may not be given parameters. You may be allowed to choose the topic of your choosing so long as it relates to the course, in which case you now got to know what you're interested in. So that's where your research agenda comes into play. And if you know that, you can then advance to an understanding of how to do this a little different. But that becomes the impetus by which you engage in the academic writing process. Now, in order to do that, however, you have to learn a new skill set, a new level of convention for writing, a new idea for writing, some new terminologies. And learning a new skill set is hard when you believe you are already a great writer. Now, that time used for doubt, that time used to challenge whether or not you're a great writer, could have been used for growing and learning. So you take that energy that you came into the classroom with, and rather than use that energy for growing and learning, you came in balled up. I know what I need to know. I know how to write. I'm a great writer. I'm in a doctoral program. How did you think I got there? So that impedes the doctoral growth. That's one pain point, the pain point of learning or having to learn a new skill set. The second pain point is greater than the writing process. It's really about you. And it's called role congruency, right? It's when I look at this person standing in front of this class or at the upper corner of the Zoom, what do I think about them in relation to me? What do I think about them in relation to the role that it says that they occupy? When I look at professor, when I think about the word professor and I look at this person, do I see professor when I look at that person? That's role congruency. And you have to now figure out how you're going to deal with it. For example, what if your professor is younger than you? Could you take direction and advising and correction from someone younger than you? What if your professor is not the gender you expected to see in the classroom? If you're a man, what if it is a woman in the classroom who is leading the class, who is the advisor and corrector in the class? Can you take direction humbly? What if your professor is not the ethnicity you expected to see? You have this idea that every professor is an old white man with a gray beard, horn-rimmed glasses, and a blazer with patches on the elbow. And I walk into the room with a t-shirt, jeans, and shell-toe Adidas. Am I who you expected to see? And because I'm not, can you still take direction and correction from me? The most important thing you have to think about in role congruency is, how are you going to deal with it? How are you to deal with your issues on that? Because how you feel about someone younger than you, how you feel about someone of a different gender, how you feel about someone of a different ethnicity is really your problem that you've got to figure out. And you've got to figure out, is it enough for you to hinder your process in earning your degree? Because if it is, then you should go ahead and bow out now, because we're here, not going nowhere. The next part that impedes or pain points about doctoral growth is power dynamics, being this what we call a new timer, which is like a newcomer and an old timer at the exact same time. So how do you deal with the power dynamics and, more importantly, the new timer dynamics of this? And what I mean by that is this: you're not new to school, but you're new to this level of learning and research. That's being a new timer. You're not new to school. You're an old timer when it comes to going back to school. You've done this before. You've been in a classroom before. But you're new to this level of this requirement, the learning, the intangibles, the skill sets, and the content of this program. That's what you're processing all at the same time. How are you going to deal with that? How do you deal with that? And then there's also a power dynamic. Many of you as doctoral students are full-time workers and professionals. So you're all powerful at your day job. Then you have to come to class and be in need and take correction and take advising and be told that you're not as great a writer yet as you think you are. So that is something you have to consider and take note of. The power dynamics, the new timer dynamics. And if you fail to understand or deal effectively with these things, that could create a problem in your growth. And you'll end up wasting important time dealing with small issues that you should have grown beyond. So that is the idea of this whole approaching of being this new timer. Now, let's get to the point.